Nice.
I forgot to click. That's my bad. Yeah, but as I was saying, Shaun, going back to what you said, is it's very important that that myth is broken, that we understand that age is not the limit factor that comes in. The thing is the mindset. And I think you also touched upon the word ritual. What is ritual? I would also want to understand how you think about it, but I think it's a practice. I told you, right? Every day I go back because it helps me break from the monotonous of the day, that the schedule that I have. But it is also a ritual I follow, that I try to do it every day and being persevering in it, going across and doing it again and again every day. Um, Going back to the introduction, so as I said, I'm 45 years old, almost 45, trying to stay. Anyway,
And it's working.
yeah, yeah, I mean, and definitely martial arts have helped. Martial arts, and I would say also food habits. That's the second part of it, and I would never give it anything less. And you often say that when we are doing in 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 our class, that that's a very important thing. And I'm a business guy. I work. I lead a multinational team across borders, and we often spend time like with my colleagues, finding out how they energize themselves, how they and we are of different ages, right? Different age groups we are within the team, how they energize their day and how they stay fit. And different people have different ways of doing it. Some people do yoga; they're very persistent on that. Some do martial arts.
Oh, there's other martial artists.
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's cool.
really. Not in the current organization, but my previous organization. Actually, my boss, she's now a second degree black belt. She became a first degree black belt when I was still working with her, and a
Wow.
whole family. So she, her husband, her two kids, all are martial arts.
That's awesome.
They are like fifth degree, sixth degree black belts, and she's only second degree.
Yeah.
But she has been persistent, again, going across and achieving it.
Lifestyle.
Lifestyle. Yeah.
Lifestyle. That's the most important thing. So the question that we're tackling on this, because we're talking about martial arts and how it's transformed our lives. My story is my whole life imploded. My bad decisions caught up with me, to make a long story short. Catch that story on another episode. But basically, I had to reorganize my life from the ground up, and everything imploded. So I literally had to like rebuild from nothing, and I was fortunate enough to actually look at my life and be like, okay, what is my life? And so I look at it like a pie chart. And like, it's my relationships, my work, my job, whatever that is, my physical activities, whatever I'm doing for fun, for hobbies when I'm not working. What am I eating as far as media? What am I consuming mentally, spiritually? What's my music, my like media? What am I watching, reading, consuming? Relationships, and that includes family or romantic relationships. Any spiritual practices or type of worship, expression, any arts or crafts or way that I process my emotions. So I was able to look at all those things, and I went through my recovery process, 9 months in recovery in Orange County. I had the buffet table laid out in front of me of all the cognitive behavioral therapy options and the different types of therapy. There was like theatrical therapy. I don't even know what it's called, but it's like dynamic role playing basically, and that was pretty cool. Where you attach a character to the emotion that you're feeling, and then you act it out, like play act. But there were so many things I had at my disposal, so I really got to pick and choose how to build my life and how I was going to set machines or mechanisms in place for coping with life. And so I changed my work. I was working 22 years in retail, and I decided I would work in the mental health and alcohol abuse sector. And then I decided to pursue my dreams of teaching in martial arts. So I taught for a while in Northern California for, I don't know, like maybe 7 years, from 2011 to 2016, 17, something like that. And it was a great part of my life. Before that, I trained. I've been training since I was 16. So 30 years of training, lots of years of teaching. my whole point was when I got back to rebuilding my life, I knew martial arts had to be in there somewhere because that's where I felt the best. I was working out, I was achieving goals. But the most important part, like I was doing something healthy, like it's a type of exercise and spiritual practice. And so I added that into the base of my structure when I rebuilt my entire life. And it started with going back to jiu-jitsu and training in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'm a 2nd degree black belt in karate. I have some aikido training, 1st degree black belt in hapkido, 3rd degree black belt in taekwondo. But what got me back in the mat was jiu-jitsu. I mean, Orange County, we have so many freaking great jiu-jitsu talent around here, world-class athletes. And then I just like went out on a limb, and I was on Indeed. I was working in the recovery sector, and I saw a advertisement for Taekwondo instructor, and I said, let's give it a shot. And I've been teaching over there at Martial Arts USA since 2020. And you got your black belt.
Yeah.
Working on your 2nd degree black belt, and I just love it, and I was able to leave retail, being miserable and drinking, and just like occupying my time with working hard for a company and then checking out because I needed to de-stress. So drinking was my go-to, and that just created a bunch of other problems.
But isn't that again going back to what you said about ritual? Wouldn't you say that though it was bad, it was also kind of ritual? That is what was you are helping you come out of your of your day, and to escape that, your ritual was at that point in time drinking alcohol.
Right. So, that was my checkout ritual. Yeah, because I couldn't turn my brain off. Right? That's how I felt. Like it's like I just wanted to mellow out because I'm always like maybe I have ADD or something. I don't know, but I'm always like doing things with my brain, like working 10 different projects. So what I told myself is I wanted to check out. But I really created a ritual of checkout, and then that ended up driving me to quit training in martial arts when I originally quit. A couple things happened. I had a work shift change where I left retail and I went into construction. And so my schedule, I wasn't available to teach and teach martial arts or train in martial arts. And that's when I really started to drink in that environment when I was doing the construction, because we were working 17 hours a day or something. And then you got happy hour at the hotel and you're just drinking until it's over or whatever, and then waking it up and doing it again 6 days a week. So that's where I developed the real ritual of habitual hard alcohol drinking. And then through the rehab and the recovery, I wiped the slate clean, detoxed, and created new rituals for myself. One of those was meditating. Whenever I would feel that urge of like, oh, I gotta go check out, like, oh, all my responsibilities are done, I should go drink or do whatever, I knew, okay, let me go do a guided meditation. So I would go and just put on my eye mask and my AirPods and put on my oil diffuser with some lavender and just listen to like a guided meditation, whether it's 20 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour. I would always like, after that, feel energized. And I'm like, dude, that's like free. Like to do that and feel that experience without having to take a medicine with a side effect or pay the price for something that you're doing externally. You're able to produce your own medicine internally with your ritual. So for me, the ritual is behavior with intention attached to it. So your behavior could just be random, but as you continue to do things on purpose, then you're going to create a pattern of behavior, which could turn into a ritual. May not specifically be a ritual, but when you make a ritual, that means you put all your intention. We're talking like you made it a holy thing, like a funeral. That's a ritual. People do that together. It's a community ritual to say goodbye and to deal with death. A marriage is a ritual. We get together, and some cultures do, some extravagant things because it's a community ritual. Baptism is a ritual. Different esoteric societies have different rituals for initiation into their way of thinking or to align yourself with their beliefs or whatever. In martial arts, we have the ritual, right? You work and you go through the belt system, and the belt test is a ritual. Getting the belt from the instructor, your tea ceremony, when you get your black belt, that's a ritual. So ritual is just finding something, a behavior, attaching intention to it, and sometimes that just means you can I hope people find the ability to change their perspective, which is what I did. And just by attaching meaning to a behavior, turning it into a ritual, making it something consistent, if it's healthy for you, then you've got a good, successful tool to help you empower yourself and empower others. So the question about martial arts having an age restriction, what's too old? I teach kids that are 2 years old. I've got a student that's 2 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I've got the smallest kids doing the biggest things with their body. And, for those people that, I get people in the comments every once in a while about martial arts and bullshito. And, that's a little kid shouldn't have a black belt. And, that's the gatekeeper talking. Who's the gatekeeper? The one who's giving out the belts. So you're going to decide if someone has to pay you for 15 years while you fatten your pocket, Martial arts is a vehicle for everybody to overcome and to build confidence and to meet life where they're at and where life meets them. You know what I mean? We don't all have the same body. We don't all have the same brain chemistry.
Sure.
And to say some people don't get the benefits of martial art because they're not an apex MMA fighter predator, I hate that. That's a bully who says that type of stuff. So age group. If you're able to follow instructions and be safe, you're able to train. If you're able to be safe and follow instructions, those are the two main things. Because it all goes by memory. We lose our strength. You're young for a little bit. You're strong and pretty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you trade it for wisdom. And we're memorizing and we're doing things with our bodies and getting to know our bodies and creating new neural pathways by memorizing things. And then we're building community because we're sweating with people, together with people. And there's a structure there like a family or a church or a community. And there's a place for everyone there. And the question is age a restriction? The question is there a place for you? And in martial arts, there's a place for everybody.
Yeah.
And I created a place for people in my martial arts studio because somebody created a place for me in our martial arts studio, which was Master Kim. He made a place for me, and I've been successful there. I've been there since 2020. And we have a thriving community of children and adults. We just kicked off our fitness kickboxing for moms and dads, 8:15 to 9 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And people are in there sweating and laughing and smiling because they're doing things that are hard and that are miserable, but they're getting through that minute, that 30 seconds, or that rep count, and they're achieving goals. And it's amazing because confidence gives birth to confidence, which gives birth to confidence. Yeah, and confident people are happy people, and they're not fearful people, and they're not insecure people. When you get insecurity and fear and ignorance, then you start dealing with the evils of the world. So anyways, that's my thought on that subject. Maybe I went off on a rant. If you guys have any comments or thoughts you want to add to it, if you know anybody who trains in martial arts, or if you've thought about training in martial arts, or what your favorite martial art is, or what your least favorite martial art is, put it in the comments, guys. We're just trying to start a community conversation and say, hey, we're around here. We're helping people. We're helping kids. We're helping the elderly. We're helping the strong. We're helping men and women of all races and ethnicities and religious backgrounds. And we have a diverse group over in our area, don't we? In Huntington Beach, which can tend to be a white supremacist type vibe, we've got a beautiful, diverse community. And I'm so proud of what we have over there. What are some of the things that you've experienced and developed in your training at our studio specifically?
I think the part is that fitness is a journey. It's not a point in time. Being fit, right? When I first started off, I literally remember those days when I used to come back and I was like, should I go back next day? Because it's another day and I have not used those muscles, which all of a sudden I realized I do have. But I persisted, and that really helped me to go through those transformation. But as I moved on to the journey, different realizations came to the back. The other thing was, why am I doing it, right? First, it was the curiosity to know about it, of course, other than fitness. But the other thing was also it was kind of, as I was explaining, it was kind of a way to break off from the day's work and bring a break into that, right? So it's like your lunch break.
Yeah.
The same break that you have with martial arts.
Work-life balance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was that, a step over event. That event said, okay, now evening has started, I need to look after myself and I need to get things done. I was very accustomed to having late dinners, which I stopped. And in fact, I'm much better now, but I stopped that. And I used to have dinner after coming back, or even have 2 hours before I went to Taekwondo class. So that became the ritual changes, as you were pointing out. But the one thing which when you asked me that what did you realize of this journey, one of the most important things that people don't think about in Taekwondo, I feel, is control. You know what I figured in my school, in the school Master Kim's school, is we often fight with people who are much more, how do I say, not in that power zone that I am.
Yeah.
The young girls that we have, the kids we have, and things change. I mean, I'm fighting one day with Aiden, who is big, as strong, or maybe stronger than me, and you take his kicks, it's very hard. I can kick him the same way. But the next time when I'm doing it with let's say, Viv or someone like that, I have to control my power. And that time it's not about power, it's about accuracy. It's about the whole thing, that how do you control things? Because if I'm not happy with the day, and I all of a sudden start, and to get out of the day, I just have junk food. Maybe that's my way of getting out of it. Have a drink. That's the controlling the urge. Isn't that what our ancestors and everyone used to talk about? That you need to meditate to control that. So that is, if you remember, in my black belt speech, I had said it's for me a moving form of meditation.
Yep.
Right. The forms, of course. But when I'm doing the kicks, I cannot think about it. Like you, I also have the same problem. My mind is thinking of 5 different things. Even if I try to control it, it's thinking not it may be thinking productive things, but it's thinking many things at the same time. And when you're in the Taekwondo, when you're taking the kicks, not only the forms, but the kicks, you have to focus on that. There is no way that you cannot. And if you don't, you learn it quickly when you get that kick at the wrong part, and then you change your stance. Yeah. So it's again, it's how you interpret it, and this is my interpretation. One is the fitness, one is the ritual, and the third thing is control. 3 things which are very important in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the idea of control.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The idea of control, guys. If you're just joining us, we're doing our first TikTok live podcast. This is Mr. Sengupta. My name is Shaun Anderson, aka Instructor Anderson, aka Beastman Anderson, and we're talking about martial arts and its transformative properties and how it can change your life. And can people be held back by age? Is it age restrictive? Are you
definitely that answer is no, right?
No, the answer is not. Yeah, exactly. So the answer, well, I guess you won't wait till the end of the podcast for that.
Yeah.
No, there's something for everybody in there. The 2-year-olds are going to learn structure, and I've got a. By the way, guys, I'm the creator of the Heroverse, which is a universe of comic book type, anamorphic, animal type characters that are representations of the martial art characters that we have. There's Master A, who's the lion, and he's like the instructor. And then there's the little kids, the different white belts and orange belts. And I created this preschool coloring book. So when the kids are doing the preschool coloring book, they're like able to, osmosis, get transition into the environment and not be so scared. Yeah, absorb it. Yeah, because that can be a lot to take it. Big tattooed guy, when you're 2 years old. But so we got that for the kids. We've got the Heroverse, preteens. We've got Virilitas Men's Magazine, which is Sacred Masculinity or Positive Masculinity. We've got the Instructor Anderson Sacred Path leadership program that we're pushing out this Saturday, 10-week program to teach the kids how to be martial art instructors, how to give positive feedback, how to encourage others, how to be a big brother and big sister. We're raising leaders, and that's really what the goal is for Lotus Enterprise, which is my thing, is to empower others so that they can empower themselves and in turn empower others. So we're talking about where does all that come from? For me, it's martial arts, the transformation of martial arts. Martial arts became a ritual for me to forge myself into who I am today, which is a full-time martial art instructor. I teach 7 days a week. Kids from 2 years old all the way up to adults that are in their 60s, 70s. So the main question was like, what can this do for the different age groups? Well, for kids coming in the door at 2 years old, they're gonna. Our little dragon program is not as strict, but we allow play. I mean, they're little kids, their brain's developing, so they're gonna run around. But for the most part, we make them stand at attention. They learn the stances. They learn a couple
It's also a
basic
little bit
kicks.
about discipline, right? When
Discipline,
I was working with you as an instructor, that was the thing.
Yeah.
That they were having fun, but within a certain discipline environment. Right?
Yeah.
They were doing certain tasks that they were asked to do.
And then coming in and having like that little coloring book thing, and then like seeing the other kids their size, doing all the same thing. And then we have one of our little dragon. One of our young students. She's 7. She's a red belt. She's like that big. And she helps out in the little dragon class, and she's so amazing. And all the kids see her, and to them,
it's an inspiration.
she's a peer, but she's like a red belt. So they all want to do exactly what she's doing. And so you have almost like nanotechnology recreating itself. Like the little bot wants to be the other little bot, wants to be the other little bot. And so you got a nice little mechanism there where kids are trying to replicate order, discipline, self-control. And the biggest thing that we can learn as humans is self-control.
Yeah.
That's the problem. We want to control everything else, but we can't control our own emotions or our own physical actions.
Urges also, right? I mean, urge to eat, urge to drink.
Yeah, just our basic instincts,
Yeah.
right? To say things that we shouldn't say, or to react in ways. So martial art is great practice for that. And once you start to realize that you can practice self-control successfully, again, it exponentially goes into every other part of your life. So one big thing that I love to talk about, all these products I created, my wife created the Creatress, which is the female, like the divine feminine, women getting into connecting with their inner divine feminine. I've got the same thing for the masculine. We got the product for the kids. We've got the Instructor Anderson, which is like a workout in your pocket with the GPTs and all that stuff. But the whole system, I forgot what the whole point was that I was making. But do you remember?
No, it was about like the first we started off with the different age groups, what the different age groups can get out of it, and you started with the youngest group, which is basically gaining from the young dragons.
Yeah.
And then you basically went from there to the different products. But I think we wanted to come back to the different age groups, what they benefit from.
I guess the whole thing is there's rituals for everybody based on every part in my life that made me successful. I'm trying to give that to everybody. So being able to give that to the preschoolers at 2 years old, 3-year-old. The other group, we created the form tracker. So now we're telling the kids, Bruce Lee said he doesn't fear the man who practices one kick 1,000 times or multiple kicks 1,000 times, but the guy who practiced one kick 10,000 times. So we created a form tracker so the kids can practice their form up to 10,000 times. And we saw the first month we had that out, kid practiced their form 350 times. The next month the kid did it 887 times or something, and then another kid did it 750 times. So what are they learning? Self-control. They're learning how to budget. They're learning how to keep track of their accomplishments. They're learning how to track and measure. These are like business skills, and they're learning how to document, and they're learning how to achieve their goals and set a goal. And guess what? The payoff is there in their body when you see the test and you see that they're able to do a traditional martial art long stance where they're bending that front knee at 90 degrees, back foot 45-degree angle, and the elbow pulled all the way back, strong fist, good posture, like proper alignment. It's pretty amazing. And yes, that's at not 2 years old, I would say. I've seen 3-year-olds break boards, It takes some energy to bring your knee up and kick and snap a board. I've seen 5-year-olds who cannot break a board. I've seen 7-year-olds who cannot break a board because mentally they're paralyzed by fear. And so it's for me, it's like I get to see human psychology at different levels every single day. And I know what champions are. And I know that I can see when people are their own enemy, preventing them from achieving. So like the question where does age fit into this? Age is an excuse. If anything, there is no age in martial arts. You can do Tai Chi, you can breathe. That's why all the masters learn Qigong when they're 11th degree black belt, 8th degree black belts, 9th degree black belts, because your body's going to start falling apart. So You're gonna do some.
It's a lot about controlling the breathing also.
Right.
How
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
breathe.
A little bit facetious, but yeah, it's a higher level when you're able to have that relationship with energy and your breath and your consciousness.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's a lot easier than doing jump kicks
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, I think the from the school, what I said, like building this community and how we had that you started in the school of different age groups. I think every age group has something to take it from the classes or what they train. Everyone has their own interpretation, but also every age group has it. And some of the people who have now turned out to be instructors, I mean, when I knew them, when I had seen them first, they were totally different. And this whole thing has transformed them into leaders. And one day they will become leaders. And there are some of them, as we know, like one of them went to Italy to pursue her studies. And I'm sure this gave them a lot of confidence because she was already teaching here the students around. In terms of this, the journey, and also I want to bring in the business aspect of it is, every part of life is the same. It follows the same principles, right? In business also you have rituals, right? Having the mutual respect for each other. It's the same thing that you're doing in martial arts. You are fighting your opponent, but you're not fighting that person. You are training yourself, but we also have to hold, and when we're training, like for example, when we're holding the bag, we have to keep that person is able to kick. Not making it hard, of course challenging that person, but not making it hard that they cannot kick. That's not the whole idea about the training, which you keep
You're learning how to coach yourself, and then you're learning how to coach others.
Exactly. So which is important because in the job life, it's the same thing. When we go to and do business, and we are doing business with different cultures and different this thing, we need to maintain that mutual respect, the respect that we have for each other, and at the same time turn out that, like for example, I want the best out of my team, right? And I have people from different parts of the world, right? And this really is a parallel theme that you can draw from these two words. One is the discipline part. The second thing is the coaching. Everything is coaching in action, right? You don't go like in the student days, right? You don't go to class and learn something. You're doing everything. The test is every day you're going to business, right? And you're doing it. And last but not the least, it's a very important thing to remain fit also from every aspect. So when we talked about it, we talked about fitness in form, if I can say like that, the body, and which is very important because you're traveling for business and all those things, and you need to be fit for that. But also in mental, right? You need to be in the right frame of mind when you're doing business, and that really helps when you're leaders. You have a firm mind, and Taekwondo also or martial arts teaches you the different forms that we have.
Mindset, like Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest swordsman of history. I don't know. I think he successfully fought 21 people or maybe 80. I don't know. But anyways, he survived and lived through them all. Anyways, he wrote a book of 5 rings, and one of the chapters he talks about stance. And so he's using martial art terminology to talk about mindset. But he says like the warrior is fixed with his stance. His gaze is narrow. His eyes are focused. His knees are slightly bent. He feels the center of his body weight like. I forget the whole thing, but it's a great chapter. Sun Tzu, The Art of War, you know what I mean? Talking about the different dimensions of the battle. You've got heaven and earth. You've got the elements, earth, wind, fire, water. You've got the general himself is just a moral person, somebody that you're able to follow, who leads by example, who has the moral authority and moral high ground. These are all things you take into consideration when you're going to battle. The environment, the distance, is it land or air or sea, and who has the moral high ground. I mean, these are all just concepts of martial arts that apply in business. You know what I mean? Because business is negotiating and fighting for what you're trying to get. Those things carry over, and then the leadership, leading by example. That's one right
That's
there.
very important. Yeah.
Taking initiative to make things better instead of just complaining and talking and griping and get in there, get it done, lead by example, take initiative to make things better, start problem solving. These are all things that I learned through martial arts. I also, I learned a lot through business retail too, but perseverance, definitely learned that through martial arts,
Yeah, that's a very important one that has to be carried on everywhere.
Breathing techniques. I learned all those from martial. All my tattoo work, every time a needle went into my skin, it never felt good. Some hurts less than others or worse than others, but you get on some spots like the back of the head, it's intense pain, and breathing techniques to get through it. So these are all moments that I've been able to test my philosophies and my concepts and my principles and like test exploring pain through breath. Who gets that option a lot, or that opportunity, or who can even make that happen for themselves. So I've been able to utilize martial arts to explore a lot of things internally, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And what I love about martial arts is it's the unification of the mind, body, and spirit. You need your mind on task, you need your body to do what the mind is trying to make it do, and you need that energy and that intention and that spirit that makes you fight for life, like to come out in your movements and expression. What was your first breakthrough that you had in martial arts?
Well, I think the first big one was, of course, my first belt test when I broke the first board, right?
The white belt, yellow belt?
Yeah, the yellow belt. Because we have seen this in movies. Every one of us has seen some sort of martial arts movies where they break those boards. Of course, those have many boards, many layers. But when I started, it was one board, right? And I thought, like, really, I'll break it, but I broke it in one shot. And the idea there is not only about the strength, but it is also about the swiftness through which you do it, right? You're not trying to hit it slowly. The swiftness, the suddenness of the thing also exerts the force which is required to break the board. But it was a great feeling. It was a feeling that you can do it. It's great that there was a return on investment, on the time of investment, and also the feeling that you can go ahead and go through it. And each step that I took towards black belt that really reaffirmed that whole thing. I mean, COVID time was a great time that, in the sense, martial arts helped me because you could meet people. We used to do classes online. I used to teach those classes online, and you basically did it at your home. But it was a way of staying active.
Yep.
Yeah. At peak times, I still remember you couldn't even go outside the house because there was a sort of that you're not allowed to do it. It was a
in COVID time, people got real creative on how to stay in shape and do things that they wouldn't normally do. So the martial arts at home by yourself in front of the TV wasn't a bad option.
Absolutely. Actually, we had online classes. So Master Kim or the other master we had used to take the classes online on Zoom.
Okay.
And we used to follow the exercises.
How was it?
It was fun. I mean, it was a different kind of experience, of course, because you are not breaking boards and you didn't have everything to do there, but you did the warm exercises, then you were taught the kicks, and then you went across, you were doing the kicks in the air, and then you went across doing the forms, right? But it maintained the continuity, it helped maintain the continuity, and also
keep the ritual going.
Yeah, to keep the ritual going, because that was a tough time for all of us. I mean, we had a tough time. All of us had a tight time because we had never imagined it, and we went through it.
Yeah.
So it was something that really helped me go through this whole journey at that point in time. And again, the other thing is, my father, I lost him in 2021. He used to always tell me when I was young that you do not get to choose what life throws at you. You get to choose what you do with it. That's your choice, right?
That's powerful.
And that's stuck with me. I mean, I more and more realize that I cannot decide whether I want it or not. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to be given the cards that is going to be dealt out. When you play cards, if you play cards, the cards, you can get a very good hand in one hand, and the next time, and you may get cards which you don't need even. There are two good cards on your hand, and you say, why did I get? And in the last game, I didn't get any good card. that's how life is.
Yeah.
You don't get to decide on that, but how you deal with it, how you transform through it, and that's what martial arts has also treated me like that, right? I mean, the whole thing I started off was like as an experiment and sort of, okay, can I do it? I wanted to learn this, but it has helped me also through the journey, not only the spiritual journey, but whenever I fell back or life gave me a bad shot, how to deal with it. And I said, okay, if I could do this, why can't I can continue this. Martial arts, I persevered. That's why I got the black belt. Maybe I'll persevere here. I will realize many more things as I go through this journey. I can tell you from my work life also, it's the same thing. It's the same thing because you don't know what is going to happen the next day. Something hits you, it hits you. You take it, duck it, maybe help escape it. But once it's over, how you react to it is the point. And
That's it. Yeah, you
got.
got. That's the number one thing you got to learn how to do is control yourself, control your emotion, control your reaction, and that serves me the best.
Yeah, yeah.
Ever since I stopped getting in trouble. Self-control, my friends. So let me just take a look over here, and while I'm seeing if anybody's done any comments, guys, welcome to our TikTok live podcast. We're here with Sengupta. And he's one of my students at the martial arts studio in Huntington Beach. And I never say hi or interact, so I'm going to say hi to some people. I don't even really know how to do much on here other than have a show. Tell people
That's
stuff.
the main part, right?
Yeah, like buying roses and hats and all that stuff. I don't know what all that stuff is. And there's all these little games that they do on here. Anyways, guys, if you're having a good time, do something that makes the algorithm happy and does some engagement. Maybe leave a comment on how I could actually engage better.
Yeah, also ideas that what people want to know about.
Yeah.
Like this journey that you and I have gone through in a different ways.
Right.
I mean, you started, it was very interesting. I always knew that you knew many forms of martial arts.
Yeah.
Multiple forms of martial arts, and you have continued that, and now you're teaching a couple of them. In fact, you teach us tidbits from other forms also. But for me, it was a totally different way of starting off, and I started at a much more later age. You used it to transform your life. I also did it, but two totally different stories and where we started off.
Right.
And again, coming back, definitely, what does age play in a part in it, or what different age groups can take from it? I mean, in our school also, I have seen many people come up and they give up after some time.
Yeah.
Once they're hurt or something like that, they just give up.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but it's the fact. People take the choice. It's a choice that they made, right?
Yeah, I was watching something on one of these platforms. We're talking about successful people. Oh, I think it was Seth Rogen. And he was talking about successful people. And when you do the math, it's like people who didn't give up. He guarantees all the people who gave up were not successful. Most of the people who didn't give up achieved some type of success. You know what I mean? So just keep going. That's what I tell the kids when we start the Sacred Path teaching curriculum tomorrow. Sometimes you look around and you're just the last one there and you're the authority on it. You know, I never would have thought I'd be making a living teaching martial arts that I learned as a hobby. I learned martial arts to empower myself and to defend myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wanted to achieve the goals and achieve the black belts. And then I developed camaraderie and relationships and culture. And it just became a way of life until I made a change and it wasn't a way of life. And then I found my way back to it. And now all this information that I have that was just like in there is super valuable now. People want the information. And now I'm making videos on YouTube. I'm going over my old forms and make sure they're sharp. Like I'm always busy. Like I'm never not busy. And I'm always looking up. I got so many forms from my second degree black belt in karate in Northern California. Shout out Shirinji Ryu, Zenbei, Butoku Kai, Dan Wakefield, Sensei Dan Wakefield. Anyways, yeah, dude, I'm just so stoked to be able to be in a place, like I said, Master Kim made a place for me, where I'm a resource for something that is valuable to people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was valuable to me, but I didn't even know how valuable it was for me. But it helped me survive a life of implosion, and it helped me to rebuild my life into what I am now. That's the power of martial arts and transformation. Of course, it's mindset and perspective and attitude and grit, but martial art taught me that. or martial art was the vehicle that shaped me and molded me to do that. And that's something that we're offering to everybody. We've got the 2-year-old who came in to the Little Dragon class. Our Little Dragon class has about like 20 kids in there right now. It started with 0 kids. I created that program. It was like the Wild West in there, man. Little kids running around, 3, 4, 5 years old, man. And then boom, we started having fun with the kids. And then all the parents are like, man, you're so good with the kids. I have my own kids. So I know, like play with them, have fun, treat them like people, and teach them how to kick and let them experience kicking something, and they're going to feel powerful. And then we're going to take that and form it into something that's disciplined and technique that's like precise.
Mm-hmm.
And to see a kid at 3 or 4 years old pick their leg up and bring their knee up and extend their ball of their foot out slowly, or to even hold their side kick in the air, it's just like, not a lot of people can do that. And so activating these kids at 2 or 3 is like upgrading your child. It's priceless. If I told you it would cost you $10,000 and I could implant a chip in your kid's brain and it would give them like almost superhero like powers compared to, like low level human powers.
I wish that.
Yeah. And so martial art is the closest thing I've seen to that. And actually the miracle that I see in people's psyche when they get their black belt. You were one of them. When you came in the next day wearing the black belt and the uniform, your stances were lower, your kicks were higher, there was a new you. And I saw the whole transformation from the beginning through it to the end to here we are now. And it is such a beautiful thing. And that's what I live for.
Mm-hmm.
Because I see it. And that's why I get so mad when people go and, they're talking trash about other martial artists. It's like, dude, you're doing your own journey. If that works for you, cool. Stay over there and do MMA and go be an amateur fighter or whatever. Or a pro fighter, and then how much you're going to make, by the way? You're not going to make a lot. You're going to come away with some injuries and some brain damage. Anyways, you want to tell somebody else that they don't deserve a black belt because they can't punch a 1-inch board and break it? Or, like, we all have different bone structure. It's what you are given with, what you do with it. That's what makes a black belt. Not giving up is what makes a black belt. Teaching people not to give up is the name of the game. That's the game. I'm a survivor of a horrible thing that happened, and I'm here, so I'm sharing.
And it's also about continuously improving, right? I mean, that's the endeavor.
Seeking perfection.
Perfection. Right?
I say practice makes perfect, but you really practice makes progress. But it's the act of chasing perfection that refines you.
Yeah.
And it's like this thing that's always there, but just keep going for it. And
it's also like, as you said, the body types, right? You may not be able to kick at this level even after 5 years or 6 years of training. But that's not the point.
So that guy doesn't get a rank, or he doesn't get acknowledged for what he memorized and the pain that he suffered for himself. Yeah. This is. I kind of want to tell that story because I hate seeing those comments when I put some product out for the kids that's free with descriptions or demonstrations of moves to help them learn something. You got some troll on the bottom with a negative comment. Oh, that's not real martial arts, Oh my God, you're teaching a technique.
Yeah.
No, that's not a real fighting sequence that might work, but it's like you're learning how the human body works. Even if you're doing a wrist lock and somebody's grabbing you, there's 25,000 other things you could probably do. You might just punch them right in the face, but that's not the point. The point is learning. The point is chasing enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, that's why I have the Masonic symbols, and that's why I value the Masonic traditions, because I'm a builder, and I'm building a cathedral. My life is a cathedral.
Yeah.
Every stone was rough and was shaved and made perfect and put in place. Because every stone is a step that I've taken, or a decision I've made, or a time that I've expressed myself for others. And my life is a cathedral building to God, you know what I mean? And to be that living example that we need, and that I wish I had when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I want to be that for others. And I had a mom in tears yesterday telling me she saw something spark in her daughter at 4 years old, now she's 7, that it's amazing. It's like lighting somebody up with God energy. And this little person that's like a little small person that only has 7 years of life is so fired up and wants to come and take my class and loves me. She draws me pictures all the time, and I keep them all. And like that's one human.
Mm-hmm.
I affected that human, and that human's going to affect a bunch of other humans, you know. And so that's part of the cathedral. It's part of the legacy, and
So-
it's part of
So the other interesting thing that you were talking about, and I wanted to learn a little bit more, is the career pivots that you made, right? Very interesting pivots, right? And again, as we say, like the journey is like what you create out of it. So if I can quickly recap, you started off more working in retail, where you spend most of your time, a very long time,
22 years.
Which is a very different kind of job. And I remember you give some examples that you often say that at one point of time you didn't have to think what you were doing, right? You were so practiced, you could
muscle memory.
And muscle memory was there. And the same thing comes in our taekwondo, like, you know, the muscle memory, you do it. If you now ask me to do a particular type of kick, my muscle memory knows what is that type of a kick. I don't have to think and do that. So then you went and you basically wanted to help out the drug addicts, and you taught them. I wanted to know how that transformation happened, and from there, then you came to the martial arts world. What do you think? Two things were done is why each of those pivots happened, and what was the thing that you could carry from each one of them to the other job?
Okay, so those pivots happened. So I spent 22 years in retail and successful years in retail and learning how to run the grocery stores, from the bagging groceries all the way up to the manager's office, the inventory control, all that stuff. But the work-life balance was not good, and everything attached to that lifestyle. 22 years, some bad habits, some bad decisions, but really unhappy lifestyle, an unbalanced lifestyle, a style void of God, any spirituality. It was work and then not work, is play. And work and play is drinking and smoking and doing whatever, you know, and working is working hard and working like a workaholic. You know, I was salary, so working a lot of hours and getting the job done, but then partying hard, basically. And then quickly, because I don't have time to go into all of the details, but basically marriage failure, financial failure, legal problems, big time issues there. And it looked like I was surrounded by like 5 different Godzillas, and there was no way out. And so I decided I was going to take things into my own hands. I got to be careful what I say on TikTok because they'll pull a plug or something. But anyways, I made a decision to harm myself and survive that whole thing, and went to Orange County, California for recovery. And I had great insurance, so I went for mental health and substance abuse, and spent 9 months, and that's where I recalibrated my life. And then out of there, I had a choice to make: get back into retail or work in that industry. And at that point, I wanted to work in that industry because I was working. I didn't have anywhere or any place to go, basically, and I had no way to get back to Northern California, to Santa Cruz, and that's where my job was. So I quit the job. This was still during COVID, so travel and all that stuff was like very hard, and like couldn't do it. So then I got a job as a house manager or an assistant house manager in a sober living. And then I got a job at a recovery center where I was like a behavioral technician, where I'd give people their medications, make sure they did all their stuff, their groups. And then I ended up working the night shift. So I was able to work in these beautiful mansions overlooking the ocean, like San Clemente, Laguna Beach, and hang out there all night. And then when the people woke up, I'd give them their medications, and I would lead a group. And the group I led was on meditation. And so I would use that as an opportunity to teach what I knew about meditation and prayer and breathing, and it was a house of men. And I was there for probably, I don't know, a year or something, but they go through like 30-day cycles. And every time the guys were like, they loved my groups. They had all these licensed therapists and all these administrative people there, but they loved my group the most because I gave them something real. You know, we would read something maybe out of the AA book or out of something inspirational, or maybe a Bible or some other inspirational verse, Quran, and we would meditate on it. We would talk about it, and then we would just do some meditation and breathe. And they felt energized, rejuvenated, and it was pretty good. So then I was like, okay, maybe I want to get certified and become a drug and alcohol counselor. And then I started teaching martial arts again, and it was just like Northern California, San Jose. All the kids with the masks on looked like my students from Northern California. It blew my mind. They were like doppelgangers. I was like, whoa. And then I started teaching there. Then I started teaching kickboxing fitness, and I quit working at the behavioral place because I said, I can either empower people before they
Go into that
they
stage.
hit rock bottom, or I can stick around for the people that are trying to recover. So I made the choice to help people before that because that's a tough life to live in, and I did my time and I did my part. But I walked in on people trying to harm themselves, and it's a rough life. And if I have a choice to empower kids and men and women and in a school, as opposed to I mean, both are great things, but one is a little more preemptive,
Yeah.
giving people the tools, and they hopefully don't make those mistakes. But we all have our journey, and our journey is our journey. And so, nothing to say about how it all ends up, but that's how I ended up teaching full-time martial arts. And now I have private clients that I teach. I teach multiple families over here in Huntington Beach. I've got adult programs, little kid programs, teenage programs. I'm running out the leadership program. We got the men's magazine. Yeah, I mean, it's 90 days. I quit teaching fitness kickboxing a little over 90 days ago in South Orange County. And I did that because it was convenient and I had my crew there, my morning people. Shout out to all my people on there. But, circumstances changed and it gave me a time opening. And so instead of drinking my time away or just giving my time away for things that are not giving me the return, I've started to invest that into thinking about my empire. And I created 5 pillars and a brand and a message and a story. And I've started to create relationships. And it's just this beautiful thing that my life has transformed into. So I went from retail to destruction to resurrection. And now I'm here in the community as a leader, teaching men, women, children, young and old, how to empower themselves through self-defense seminars, or just teaching daily classes, or just through physical fitness. You know what I mean? I do martial art-based private fitness training too. That's the other thing I do. So if you're interested, hit those DMs. But an hour with people going through a modified, specialized training with them in their body, doing things that they didn't think they could do because they couldn't do it because their body wasn't in the right shape and they didn't have anybody there to kind of guide them. And me having all the experience of doing that for my own body and teaching other people, now I can empower others. So that answers the question on, does age prevent you, I guess, or what role does age play in your training? I got started at 16. We got a student that got started at 2 that's currently enrolled. I've got a student that started at 4 who's now 7 going into the leadership program. We've got one of our students that started when she was not even before she was a teenager, and she went through her whole transition into womanhood and just went to Italy. Now she's studying college in Italy, and she was one of our instructors. I got one kid that's been there 4 years, and he's going to be there another 4 years, probably going to be one of our next paid instructors. And just seeing a beautiful community that's thriving, diverse, powerful, healthy, it's all a reflection of what I've been able to do with my life. And there's certain things I picked up along the way that gave me the tools, and I'm just trying to give those tools out to pass the torch. So that's what brought us onto this TikTok live here, and we're going to turn this into a podcast. We're going to use all the GPTs. Maybe we'll strip the dialogue out of this and then run it through a GPT, and maybe it'll make like 2 babies, a baby me and a baby you, and I can have the podcast. So stick around, like and subscribe, guys. If you stuck around and were watching and listening, thank you so much for being a part of the program. My name's Shaun Anderson, aka Beastman. Losing my voice. This is Sengupta, Mr. Sengupta, one of our black belts at the Martial Arts USA. And, gotta verify. Gotta put the puzzle piece into place here. There we go. All right, you want to say any thoughts, Mr. Sengupta?
No, I just want to say that it is great. I hope people are enjoying the conversation, and also please let us know what you think. What are the topics that comes to your mind about age not mattering? But coming back to your story, Shaun, because I started the question, it's also important that we can take away from your pivots and carry pivots in life that age doesn't matter. It's never nothing is stopping you from starting in a new career journey as long as you have decided where to go. That's
If
also
you are able to take a breath
yeah.
and you're conscious, you're able to make a decision
Mm-hmm.
that can change your life
Mm-hmm.
and open a door to something that's maybe a portal to the most rewarding part of your journey yet.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for joining us on the podcast, Mr.
Absolutely.
Sengupta. We'll
Thank
do it
you.
again.
Absolutely.
What's the next topic?
Uh,
Inertia, breaking inertia.
yeah, I think that was the one that we had after this. No, the one we want to do was we can do actually breaking inertia.
Oh,
Why not?
whatever. What's the list you got on there?
The
Let's
next
get-
one was catch them young.
Catch them young. We kind of talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have just do it.
Just do it. Make a decision. Get in there. Make it happen.
Breaking inertia.
Breaking inertia.
That was the
No
last
excuses,
one.
right?
Yeah, no
Alright.
excuses.
Good. All right, guys. Thanks so much. If you liked it, let me know. And it's all about empowerment. Peace out.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.